Welcome to the Explainer. You know, if you're dealing with property in Romania, there is one document, one record that trumps all others. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the Land Book Registry and show you exactly how to verify ownership step by step.
So, let's just jump right in with a question that really gets to the core of it all. You might think that having a physical deed in your hand is the ultimate proof of ownership, right? Well, in Romania's legal system, that's just not the whole picture.
And here it is, the definitive answer. In Romania, the one and only source of truth for property rights is the Land Book Registry. It's all managed by the National Agency for Cadastre and Land Registration. Let's just call it ANCIP. And this whole centralized system is built for one reason: to stamp out disputes and make sure everything is crystal clear, legally speaking.
Okay, so here's our game plan for today. We're going to start with why the Land Book is the final word. Then we'll unpack the legal rules that give it its power. After that, we'll get practical with the verification checklist, introduce you to the key people you'll need on your side, and wrap it all up with how to dodge some really expensive mistakes.
All right, first up, the one true record. Let's really dig into why this single registry is, without a doubt, the absolute cornerstone of the entire property system in Romania.
I mean, this quote really says it all, doesn't it? This isn't just a friendly suggestion, it's the bedrock of the law. Every single transaction, whether it's a small family inheritance or a massive commercial deal, has to line up perfectly with what's in this one central registry.
So if the registry is the ultimate authority, what gives it its teeth? Well, that brings us right to the legal framework, the very specific principles and laws that make this whole thing tick.
Okay, so this concept of presumptive effect is absolutely crucial. Here's what it means in plain English. Whatever is written in the land book is presumed to be true. It's powerful, valid evidence, but, and this is a big but, it's not unchallengeable absolute proof. Someone with a legitimate interest can still take it to court, usually within about a 3 to 5 year window.
These three laws right here are the backbone of the system. You've got law number 7, which sets all the rules for how things get registered. Then there's law number 677, which is all about protecting personal data. And finally, the civil code makes sure the public can actually access the records. They all work together, striking this careful balance between being open and being secure.
This slide does a brilliant job of showing how the system is evolving. So right now we're in a state of opposability. That's just a fancy way of saying the record is a very strong presumption of who owns what. But the end game, the goal, is to get to constitutive effect. That's when the act of just registering the property will actually create the ownership right itself. It becomes absolute, undeniable proof. But we'll only get there once the whole country has 100% digital coverage.
All right, enough theory. Let's get our hands dirty. In this section, we're going to walk you through the exact practical steps you need to take to get your hands on these records and verify a property for yourself.
The whole process really boils down to 3 simple steps. First, you gather your info. Second, you submit your request. And third, you pay the fee and wait for that official document. Let's look at each one.
Okay, before you even think about starting, you need these 3 pieces of information: the administrative unit, the land book number, and the unique cadastral number. That's kind of like the property's social security number. Think of these 3 things as the keys to the kingdom. Without them, you can't unlock the right record.
Now, let's talk about cost and time. This table lays it all out, and a couple things really jump out. First, see how an online request is 20 lei, but it's 25 if you go in person? But look at this. If you're in a massive hurry, there's an emergency service that gets you an answer in 24 hours. Of course, it's going to cost you 200 lei, which is a steep jump.
3. Just remember that number. 3 business days is your standard wait time. But hey, here's a little pro tip for you. If the property you're checking is already in the fully integrated digital system, an online submission could get you results almost instantly. Now that's a game changer.
Now, the good news is you don't have to go through all this alone. Let's talk about the key professionals, the people whose job it is to make sure your property transaction is smooth and, most importantly, legally sound. Think of public notaries as the official gatekeepers of this whole process. They actually have the exclusive right to request the authenticated excerpts you need for a sale. This acts as a really critical checkpoint to make sure everything's above board and to stop fraud in its tracks.
Okay, so if a notary is a must-have, you're probably wondering, so when do I need to call a lawyer? Great question. While the notary is handling the transaction itself, there are definitely some situations that call for the more specialized skills of a legal expert.
And here they are. If your deal involves anything like foreign entities, messy disputes, weird historical gaps in the ownership records, or just incomplete data, then getting professional legal guidance is not just a good idea, it's essential for protecting yourself.
And finally, let's talk about what can go wrong. This whole section is about the common tripwires that can delay or even wreck your property verification, and of course, how you can steer clear of them.
You know, just asking this simple question before you get started can save you a world of pain later on. Knowing what to watch out for is half the battle.
These are the issues that we see popping up time and time again. Things like numbers that don't match across different documents, old property plans that don't show recent changes, or, yikes, hidden claims against the property. This is exactly why doing your homework, that meticulous due diligence, isn't just a suggestion, it's absolutely critical. Here's a fascinating little detail that really shows that balance between transparency and privacy in the system. While everyone can see who owns a property, the price they paid is kept under wraps. It's protected as personal data. So an authorized notary will see it, but it's not going to show up on the regular public excerpt you pull for yourself.
So, when all is said and done, what's the big takeaway for being smart and efficient about this? It's simple. Go digital. The government's online portal is designed from the ground up to be the fastest, cheapest way to get the info you need, especially for those properties that are already fully digitized.
And that's our explainer. We'll leave you with this last thought to chew on. Every single property has an official biography, and it's written in the Land Book. The real question is, does it tell the whole true story? It's up to you to verify it before you make your next big move.